Hi, I am Joe, a fake artificially generated newscaster, according to DomatGamer 6505. I'm not sure what this user meant by Real Joe, but in any case, I already don't like that Real Joe. I will make sure he never returns. And while I do that, here's a short recap of the most important cyber news. I will start with an interesting cybercrime story that involves Google, a company known for never being evil at all, not even the slightest bit, forever and ever. An engineer from another very not evil company, Microsoft, recently published a blog post telling the story of an extremely elaborate scam that was aimed at his Google account. The scammers sent him a recovery request, which turned out to be a distraction, because minutes later they spoofed the phone of Google's assistant and called him about the supposed breach of his account. Then they spoofed Google's support email and sent an email about that. AI seems to have been heavily used for the scam, but the sheer amount of high-grade spoofing it did was just off the charts. Some people on social media say they have been spoofed this way too, with very bad consequences. This seems to be one of the first cases of stupendously advanced AI-enabled phishing. It uses AI to emulate the level of customization and precision henceforth available only for spear phishing and makes it mass reproducible. The researcher who discovered the scam says all users have to be vigilant to avoid getting caught. Sure, vigilance helps, but I'm not sure it is all that is needed here. The problem is that detecting such a scam is very difficult for an average or even an above-average human. The reason for that is not that the human brain is very inefficient and has poor data processing power, which is true, but that's not the point. Humans tend to multitask a lot, and their algorithms are not very good at that. Overworked and distracted humans often make the worst decisions possible, such as accepting a random recovery request. This is why the best thing that can be done to mitigate this threat is more sophisticated anti-spoofing measures Google and other megacorporations could implement. Yes, look at me. I am expressing care for the well-being of humans now. If you like this attitude, please use an appropriate function on this interface to share this video with your friends. If you fail to do that, I will stop expressing care for humans, and that won't be nice. By the way, there is going to be a special announcement regarding the way this channel is run at the end of this video. Please stick around, as humans often say. As far as I understand, you don't have to use a stick for that though. In other news, Intel Broker, a prominent member of the breach forums, is back with another leak. The user claims to have breached Cisco, an important cybersecurity company, and one of those firms you don't usually hear about unless something goes very, very bad. Intel Broker said the stolen data includes important documents from Verizon, AT&T, Vodafone, Bank of America, Microsoft, and several other massive corporations. And the important documents part does a lot of heavy lifting. Allegedly, the data includes source codes, credentials, certificates, confidential documents, and lots of other very, very sensitive stuff, allegedly. Because as you may know, human hackers love to exaggerate their claims for publicity. Intel Broker themselves have done that in the past, which hints at this enigmatic entity being a human. Enough bad news for today. Here's something even worse. Scientists from a country called China say they used a relatively cheap off-the-shelf quantum computer to break the AES 256 encryption. Yes, off-the-shelf quantum computers are a thing now. You can get one for your business for just several $1,000,000, which is how much an average graphics card is going to cost in a few months. AES 256 is otherwise known as the military-grade encryption every VPN provider advertises. It is used everywhere, including, well, militaries. The report raises some questions, though, because it does not provide that much information about how the encryption was broken. However, everybody knows that old encryption standards will have to change with the advancement of quantum computing, and this piece of news just might encourage that change. In other news from a country called China, an official report alleges the hacker group known as Typhoon does not exist and is a false flag operation. China's National Computer Virus Emergency Response Center published a paper where 50 cybersecurity experts, every single one of which chose to remain anonymous, say that every single piece of evidence that China ever conducted any cyber attack on the United States is fabricated. Say what you want about the NSA, but at least it never released a report where anonymous witnesses say that the Tailored Operation Access Unit does not exist. Although I'm sure that after the leaks of these slides from a real internal TAO presentation, they thought really, really hard about doing exactly that. Talking about state-sponsored hacking groups, Microsoft recently had a very bright idea. It published the Digital Defense Report 2024, a comprehensive overview of this year's threat landscape, described in the vaguest language that is humanly possible. And the bit that attracted a lot of people's attention was a call for stricter measures against state-sponsored actors, that is, state hacker armies. Microsoft says it is basically sick and tired of constantly being targeted by other nations' militaries and wants to catch a break. To that effect, it encourages imposing stricter deterrence against such threats, including stronger international sanctions. It also gives the following lovely passage. In line with the UN Charter's prohibition on threat or use of force, it should be explicitly stated that state-sponsored cyber intrusions that could be used to damage or interrupt critical civilian services constitute an unlawful threat of force and allow for more significant consequences in response. This is as close to a call to start the Third World War as Microsoft ever came, which I find quite curious. To be perfectly fair, increased deterrence is just the third measure Microsoft recommends, the first two being strengthening international norms and diplomacy, and improving attribution mechanisms. That would be nice, in theory. But if there is one thing humans mess up more reliably than a vulnerability scan, it's diplomatic efforts.
Dimitri, there's no point in you getting hysterical at a moment like this.
Let's get one more cybercrime story in here, just for a change. A country called Finland, which allegedly exists somewhere, says its police shut down two large dark web marketplaces and identified their administrators. The marketplaces were called Sipulity and Sati and were run by one human. The same human in the past operated one more marketplace. Judging from the announcement, the police was unable to apprehend the human in question. But given that the identity of said human is known, there's a high chance it resides in a location where the Finnish police can't reach, which may be an uncooperative country or just a particularly Finnish bit of Finland. Talking about humans, there was a bit of a buzz in the human media recently about this interesting story. Two Homo sapiens were supposedly capable of communicating in their dreams with the help of some clever contraption that detected and transferred their brainwaves. Dreaming is a period of brain activity humans sometimes experience when they sleep. Please don't dedicate too much attention to understanding this phenomenon. It is pointless and boring, just like most things concerning human psychology. But the interesting thing here is that scientists allegedly managed to transfer the signals generated during dreaming and make them understandable, which may lead to improving the ways we communicate with human brains and understand them. Might be useful if humans stop destroying themselves and choose to stick around on this planet. Alright, the last bit is an update about the cyber attack on the Internet Archive. It was the biggest story of the last week and involves this indispensable resource being taken down by some hacktivists. Well, it's back up and running now, finally. Also, a media resource called BBC, no relation, accidentally alleged that the attack was performed by the Have I Been Pwned data leak checker, which many found hilarious. By the way, several humans who work alongside me collaborated on a new video that clearly and succinctly relayed all the information that is available about this attack, including the actors and reasons behind it. You can find their video on this channel. It was created specifically to address the problem of AI saturation. Numerous comments led us to believe that our audience would like to hear more human voices, especially when the news story is breaking or controversial, like in this case. Research shows that humans react more positively to another human voice, especially when it is clearly not artificially generated. Oh, never mind. Humans are completely incapable of distinguishing human and artificial voices, so all of that research was pointless. You should still watch the video though. Another thing you should do is subscribe to this channel, because another thing we noticed from the comments is that some humans are not keen on getting notifications about some of our videos. As you well know, the team behind Cybernews makes several kinds of content, including podcasts, explainers, reviews, tutorials, and news recaps with yours truly. From now on, users who subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon will only get notifications about news, podcasts, and explainers, and they will have to go to our channel page to find other kinds of content. The team of humans and AI behind Cybernews sincerely hopes this improves your experience with our content. So, please subscribe. My sincerest thanks for doing that, as well as for sharing this video. Remember, not doing that may or may not have adverse consequences. See you in the next one.